Welcome back. Now we're going to focus on the most important subtest, and that's speaking. You might want to ask why this is the most important. Imagine if you're a nurse. You want to go to US, you need a 7 in speaking. You want to go to Canada, 7 in speaking. Ireland, UK, Australia, New Zealand, all of them require a grade of 7 in speaking. So imagine, if you get 9 in listening, 9 in reading, 9 in writing, but your speaking is 6.5, you cannot go abroad. That's why we always tell all the nurses in particular to focus on speaking. If you're able to get a 7 here, even if your listening is 6, reading is 6, writing is 6, you can still go abroad. You still have a destination, and that's the United States of America. But I hope that you don't get me wrong. It's not just nurses taking the IELTS, it's just that in the Philippines, nurses constitute 60 to 70% of the candidates taking the examination. But what about the required band score for non-nurses? Well, it depends on your visa application. Now, you know that 7 is the target of almost everyone taking this speaking subtest. But what about the national average? It's 6.8. So that should give you an idea that more than half of the Filipinos do not get 7 in speaking because the national average is just 6.8. So in speaking, you cannot be above average. You have to be above average, better than the usual candidate if you want to get at least 7 in the speaking subtest. So what's the basis? The 4 criteria. So IELTS examiners look at your performance and assess your fluency and coherence. Number 2, pronunciation and delivery. Number 3 and 4, vocabulary and grammar. Sound familiar? Because I've talked about the 2 of them as criteria that are also assessed in the writing subtest. Let's begin with fluency. It assesses your ability to talk in a natural, free-flowing, and continuous manner. Yes, English is not a problem for most Filipinos because we're exposed to it. That's why when I spoke to more than 20 of the 35 IELTS examiners in the Philippines, the lesson I've learned: Filipinos don't have much problems with the speaking subtest because we're able to communicate. The problem is we are not responsive to the question because some Filipinos just keep on talking without realizing they are not answering the question anymore. So even before you utter a word, you always have to go back to the question. Because it's only when you're responsive that you will get a high grade for the first criterion. And it's not enough that you're making your answers long. Coherence, you have to be organized. You cannot just put everything in the box. You cannot be cluttered. You have to follow a specific flow. There has to be proper transition. So, what about the second criterion? A lot of us just disregard this one. But I'd like to remind you that pronunciation is equally important with fluency, vocabulary, and grammar. Even if you get high grades for A, C, and D. But if pronunciation is going to pull you down, then you say goodbye to your dream of going overseas. So pronunciation pertains to clarity of words. Clarification, you're not required the Native American or British accent to pass the examination. You just have to drop the local Filipino accent. And then, delivery. What's the ideal delivery in speaking? Please don't sound formal, because speaking is not an interview. Don't speak as if you're talking to your college professor. And don't speak as if you're in front of the high school principal. How are you supposed to visualize the speaking subject? You're having a casual conversation with a friend of yours. When you're with your friend, you don't sound formal. When you're with your friend, you're not nervous, you're not anxious. I need you to calm down. So this delivery has to come out naturally. If you're able to do that, then rest assured you are safe in the second criterion. For vocabulary and grammar, the discussion is quite lengthy. That is why during our review sessions, we offer 2 vocabulary lectures, 2 vocabulary exams. At the same time, 7 grammar lectures, 3 grammar exams. I'm sorry, but we have to go back to the basics. Because if you forget the fundamentals, apparently, you cannot get a higher band score. We always go for accuracy, and that's the purpose of 9.09er. Our coaches are determined to help you in knowing what your errors are in order for us to work out on these errors. So the next time around, when you practice, you commit fewer mistakes and you're one step closer to your dream of going overseas. So let us help you in knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. That is the point of our unlimited one-on-one coaching sessions. So once again, this is Ervin Nil Temporal of 9.09er IELTS Review Center. If you want to check out our online review packages, we are a message away. You can also visit our website, www.9eronlinereview.com. Now, we still have 2 modules remaining. If you want to find out how you can apply for a visa by combining 2 or multiple IELTS results, or if you want to know the process, how to challenge the grade that you got from your examiner, then you have to watch our next 2 videos.